Hello and welcome to Virtual Concert Hall's live music channel. My name is Chris Au, and I have with me the co-founder of Virtual Concert Halls, Anna Ospenskaya.
Hi,
and
everyone.
we will be your hosts for today's amazing show. Welcome, and this is part 3 of the documentary of Beethoven Symphony No. 5, written, narrated by Lawrence Rapchak, created by New Media Productions Worldwide and Virtual Concert Halls, and produced by Architects of Music.
This is the exploration further. Last session, we ended at the end of the exposition of the first movement of Symphony No. 5. We are moving on with our journey into the most chaotic and the most incredible section of the symphony. That's the development section where the entire plot is developing.
Absolutely, and it's just a really wild way for us to explore this with Lawrence Rapchak narrating, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, and this incredible collaboration with Lawrence and with the Architects of Music was made possible by our absolutely immense passion for bringing musicians from different countries, different events, and music live and music films, all that related to music and musicians from entire globe.
And now the main motive in the horns, now with clarinets added, announces another major signpost of the music. The central development section is about to begin. And without getting technical, the stark harmonic outline of this unison passage prepares us to move into the key of F minor. That auxiliary tonal area that seems to hover over this music. And this development begins, like the exposition, softly with the motive darting about, the second violins, the clarinet, first violins, cellos, and viola. And now a continuous stream of the motif's rapid eighth notes. I'll play it slowly. So ghostly, this continuous chaining together of these short notes. There's a gray quality to this, like all those old German paintings of the era, forests and seashore, that misty, slightly creepy feeling. And the motive is growing. It's everywhere. And you heard the tempest raging in those diminished seventh chords. Then another, which leads us to this. The rhythm sort of fractures. And 3 short and 3 long notes. That's the horn version of the theme now coming back. And Beethoven now begins to break down the motive. We're in F minor. Using just these 2 long notes from the theme, antiphonally, back and forth between the strings and the winds. And despite the fact that we feel the energy, the pulse of this music continually moving ahead, there's an eerie calm to this passage, a mystical aura, as if nature is contracting and devolving. The harmonies here have almost a liturgical sort of austerity to them. that mystical, austere quality has been swept away by the thunderous return of the main motive in full force with trumpets and timpani and ushered in by F minor. And this rather brief and concentrated development section has led to the recapitulation, which, as we know, essentially restates the exposition. However, when we get to that first big cadence, with the long-held G in the violins, Beethoven now does something very unusual. He inserts a brief cadenza for the oboe that picks up on the note G. Which at this point in the movement structure gives us an unexpected moment of reflection before the drama continues to play out, which it does following the events of the exposition until we get to that big diminished chord outburst. Remember, as I said, these diminished chords can resolve in any number of ways. In the exposition, the chord did this. And we had the horns enter. But now in the recap, in the very same passage, the very same diminished seventh chord does this. Oh, before it did this, now it does. It works both ways. And Beethoven has used this chord now to move into C major, with the two bassoons now taking over the horn version of the theme. And so the secondary theme appears, and having moved into C major, which is referred to as the parallel major key of C minor. Here's C minor, here's C major. The secondary theme again provides a welcome respite from all of the Sturm und Drang. And as the recapitulation concludes, the cadence in C major provides the perfect harmonic transition into, once again, F minor. F minor, again, clearly functioning as an important harmonic force as it signals the beginning of each major section in this movement. Now it's the coda, which is as long and involved as any of the other standard sections. And the main motive hammers away at the chord of D flat major. After a brief silence, a massive diminished seventh chord. Then what sounds like a fateful summons. And the violin's intensity, the vehemence, the wailing, and the torrent of eighth notes from the main motive, which hurtles precipitously into the depths. Hear how magnificently the man continues to transform and its driving energy. You just heard the arrival of a new variation. He takes the descending third interval, it now becomes this, then rising, linked together and continually rising. And at its high point, now legato, very smoothly, it begins to fall. But it catches itself on these two chords, F minor and C minor. The wailing in the violins jolted back into rhythm with... And what's so stirring and striking is that this does not seem at all like a traditional coda with a distinct starting point. The music is so organic and dramatic, and the way the motive changes and expands and drives the music, that we are totally swept away by the intensity and inevitability of the music as it powers through to its conclusion. Here now is the entire first movement coda. To put this in some sort of perspective, we've explored Haydn's technique of motivic construction, which he so brilliantly employed in the first movement of his Symphony No. 102, and it's obvious that Beethoven was influenced by it. But now, with the opening movement of his Fifth Symphony, Beethoven has taken this technique to an entirely new level.
Ooh, whoa.
That symphony never fails to leave a huge emotional impact, doesn't
That's
it?
incredible stuff. It makes me wish that I was an orchestral musician, because then I could participate in such incredible drama.
Yeah, lots of pianists wished that Franz Liszt made arrangements for piano.
It's not the same, is it, though? To be a part of
It's
that
not.
amazing sound world. Oh,
100 people strong, right?
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Incredible.
wanted to mention a couple of moments in the film, which I believe are really very, very striking illustrations of the story and of Beethoven and of how Lawrence Rapchak talks about it. Like, I don't know if you noticed, during the development section, as it was preparing for the C major, it was all in grayscale colors, and all those landscapes were sort of in a foggy mode. And then
Yes.
when, even as C major appeared, nothing in color changed that much, just maybe slightly. And then when finally it settled, all of a sudden the color was splashed all over the screen.
Blossoms back. Yes, exactly. It's a really big testament to the producers and the tech production team and the editors, making this not only sound amazing, and of course Larry Rapchak's narration is amazing, but also his visually it looks very appealing for us, and it gives such a depth to the piece itself. I love how it's like a lecture recital where you're sitting and listening to Larry talk about it.
Yeah, and
You get
taking
a
just
lot of
theoretical
music.
notes so you can pass the next exam, right?
Yeah, you really get a lot of music imbued within this journey, and so it feels more like an epic storytelling, and applicable for all ages, as opposed to just something that.
Yeah,
is
absolutely.
academic.
And another little moment in this chapter of the film, when the diminished chords start kind of striking through the texture of the symphony, and we see the lightning strikes being really timed with those chords. And I want to praise our team of videographers and the whole team of producing the visual side of this film for doing that. And I want to underscore, maybe professional videographers can all do that, but I don't know. That kind of timing and those kinds of visual ideas are something what is deeply rooted in musicians, performers' mind. At least for me, a lot of times I have to visualize this story when I'm building my interpretation, and on stage I recall almost like a ongoing movie. So watching this being produced by musicians who double as
Right.
another basically another profession as filmmakers, to me speaks really to the inner depths of my own imagination as a musician when I'm on stage and performing a piece.
Definitely. It also echoes those videos by whether it's a pianist or a string quartet or something, where you have amazing videographers who time the close-ups of certain, when you watch a digital concert hall of Berlin Philharmonic, they close up on the soloist, something's the conductor, and the emotions. It's as if they have such a big insight to how the music works, and then they show it on film. So it's like a highlighting of what's dramatic about the music. I love it.
Yeah, what's going on. And as a musician, and I have lots of friends who play in those orchestras. There's almost never complete musician satisfaction with the timing of it. It's like, okay, well, this is flute a solo, and they're showing oboe.
Yeah, I mean, you win some, you lose some, honestly. But the most important thing is, I think we are trying in our digital and visual world that we live in to appeal to that without losing touch of what the tradition and the music drama and the foundations of it all, which is Beethoven and his incredible genius, highlighted by Larry Rapchak. And what I love about how he also illustrates the structure of the piece is he brings to light this sort of the form, without making it sound boring. It's a journey, it's an adventure. And I think this is something I find really appealing because it's storytelling. How do you, as an educator, talk to your students about form and structure, in particular the sonata form? And what's also brilliant as a side note is how Beethoven brings in sort of this flute cadenza, a short one, into this. And it's like, well, who else would have thought of this? And he's trying to bring in all the tools to create something just original, but also dramatic.
Yeah, that little cadenza actually reminds me of the Symphony Fantastique by Berlioz. There's a spacious moment, but there's more than one in this Symphony Fantastique, which really sounds almost like it's been taken out of this symphony. And those reminiscences are really very enriching for people who listen to the music, and of course, especially for people who perform the music, having those parallels and memories of different moments of different pieces of music. That's an extremely enriching experience because you're not just listening to one piece or playing one piece. It's a much more complex and much more chaotic and richer texture. The memories, like as a professional musician, I deal with, and this for me is one of my objectives, to invite and to encourage and inspire my students and whoever comes my way as a musician, to really embrace the complexity of it and embrace the chaotic nature of music and explore it as much as possible, because this is where the emotional experience of whether listening or performing the music becomes what it's meant to be, enriching. And if you ask me as an educator with the students, what I do, I have my own system. I call it listening log.
Oh, okay.
Where my students have a basically a music appreciation assignment every week.
Nice.
And they have to watch videos or listen to recordings. And I have a whole structure and a whole curriculum in there. They can choose pieces from different styles and And but the whole point is to make it very personal. I always tell the students, no matter how young, let me back up a little bit. That assignment includes a comment section where the students need to write comments in there. And of course, they always ask me what should they put in the comment, because they obviously want to please the teacher with the comments which will fit the teacher's objective, right? And I have a very simple explanation of what I want in those comments, and I'm just going to share it with you. The explanation is, first of all, I start with what not to put in the comments, and simply do not put in those comments anything I might know or I might learn. Or, in a digital terms, don't put in those comments anything I can Google.
Oh, I see.
I don't want to know anything about the composer. I don't want to know anything about the country or whatever. All the information, which academic part of it, which is Googleable, learnable, informative. I don't. Please leave it out. Then what to put in there? Something I can't Google, obviously. And what is that? I'm going to ask you. What do you think is that?
Well, the inner emotions that you may feel, sort of comments that you may have as your first listening experience, or maybe the second time you hear it, maybe you find out something different, or you say, oh, this sounds like a this. Or I recently watched Star Wars, and this reminds me of when, so-and-so character
and Beethoven
appears.
Does remind of Star Wars. Doesn't it?
Yeah. There's the march, and, or you may have recently read a book, and it's like, oh, this represents this character so well, and Anna, you've got to read this book because you've
exactly.
Got to,
I can't Google what Chris Au thinks about it and what he felt when he was watching it. I can't Google that. So that's what I want in the comments. And with my system of these assignments, and we talk in lessons briefly, of course, about what they wrote and all of this, stretch it over 10 years, and they have to watch 2 pieces or more every week. That's however many weeks. Simple math allows me as a teacher to really invite students into my way of approaching music, which I find very exciting for me. And I see my students, they get the bug. The permission to share their own, and permission to enjoy and feel it in their own way. And that's how you build this parallels and reminiscences, which for me are a big part of my relationship with music as a performer, as a teacher, as everything. So that's how, that cadenza in Beethoven's symphony reminds me of Berlioz or something else, and something else, because I heard all of it, but not only because I internalized it, absorbed it, and experienced it in my own way, and even many times tried to articulate what that experience was for me. So
wonderful. No, I think this is what gives the music a longevity, that it's constantly applicable in terms of storytelling and narration to our imagination, even in the modern world, and continually, because it's so honed into our human experience. It's so honed into our ideas and stories of tragedy, heroism, and this turmoil and storms. I think because he's so clearly linked with nature, and the videos really show that the rainfall and the storms and nature. I think
and
we're
the
also,
waves brewing and all that.
Exactly. It's very easy for us to enter into that world because he's using nature as a force of inspiration. And with that, I think it's a big props to the team for making it so clear, so it's enjoyable for us. We have the amazing architects of music, Larry Rapchak, of course, in virtual concert halls and new media productions worldwide, making sure this happens seamlessly and amazingly. I want to give a big props to our team because they do so much good work, and they are all musicians. These are all musicians who put their lives into a different kind of genre of work, but still living to work and serve the music industry. If you are interested, please check out our future and current events. We're going to go through many different parts of this documentary, even just on the Fifth Symphony. We have many other symphonies, the Magnificent Nine, that we're going to present to our audiences. And this is all part of virtual concert halls, as well as our mission to share great music and insight with the rest of the world. Please check out our website at soundexpressivacompetition.com. And for other productions and to learn about us, please go to virtualconcerthalls.com.
We'll see you in chapter 4.
No matter where you are or who you are, music connects us all. We started with a dream, but now we are paving the future. Welcome to the Sound Expressiva Global Competition. Fully virtual, yet bringing musicians closer together than ever before, now on a global scale. True live, inclusivity, diversity, connection, community, an extraordinary array of judges. Get noticed by companies all over the world. Prizes, scholarships, performance opportunities. Apply to be a part of the most exciting congregation of artists like nothing you've ever seen before. We guarantee quality and leave no musician behind. We can't wait to hear you on the virtual stage.